I am proud that the United States will soon announce more than $2.3 billion in new security assistance for Ukraine.
Stop wasting the taxpayers' money.
Well, as you just heard there, we're sending more free stuff to Ukraine. This time it is supposedly going to be $2.3 billion worth. And as a reminder, here are just some of the things that we have sent to Ukraine in the last couple of years.
Match or exceed that.
The House has approved a $40 billion aid package for Ukraine.
The U.S. sending an additional $400 million in military aid to Ukrainian forces.
The White House has announced it is sending a $2 billion aid package to Ukraine.
The Pentagon said the U.S. will provide Ukraine with $1.2 billion in military aid.
The $3 billion in direct aid to Ukraine includes 50 Bradley fighting vehicles. It's the first time the armored carrier will be sent to Ukraine. The package also includes nearly 300 other armored vehicles, as well as air defense systems and anti-tank rockets.
Blinken is announcing another $1 billion in military, humanitarian, and economic aid.
The U.S. will soon send a new military aid package to Ukraine, worth $325 million.
The House has passed $95 billion in aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
Here are the full comments by Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin about the waste of money that we're sending over there. And he also reiterates the worst kept secret in government, which is that Ukraine will be joining NATO, and I'm sure Russia will just have no problem with that.
Well, good morning, Minister Umerov, and welcome back to the Pentagon. Rustem, it was great to see you in Brussels 3 weeks ago for the 23rd meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. Thanks for your close and continuing partnership. Now, Ukraine is in a tough fight and has been ever since the start of Putin's reckless war of choice. The Kremlin continues to intensify its bombardment of your cities and civilians. But I continue to be impressed by the skill of your forces, and your troops continue to fend off Russia's attacks with grit, ingenuity, and courage. So make no mistake, Ukraine is not alone, and the United States will never waver in our support. Alongside some 50 allies and partners, we'll continue to provide the critical capabilities that Ukraine needs to push back Russian aggression today and to deter Russian aggression tomorrow. And I am proud that the United States will soon announce more than $2.3 billion in new security assistance for Ukraine. This package, under Presidential Drawdown Authority, will provide more air defense interceptors, anti-tank weapons, and other critical munitions from U.S. inventories. It will also enable the United States to procure more Patriot NASAMS, air defense interceptors, which will be provided on an accelerated timeline by the resequencing of deliveries for some foreign military sales. Now, as we look ahead to the NATO summit next week, Rustem, we'll take steps to build a bridge to NATO membership for Ukraine. Just weeks ago, President Zelensky and President Biden signed a crucial 10-year bilateral security agreement. And that reflects our strong and enduring support for Ukraine.
Now, aside from the fact that Ukraine has no chance of winning this war, and this is just a giant waste of money to send stuff over to them, which, just for the record, it doesn't really matter whether or not they have a chance to win this war. We should not be sending billions of dollars to other countries for any reason, in my opinion. But regardless, once the money or the equipment does go over there in a country that's as corrupt as Ukraine, it becomes open to fraud or theft. You could do an hour-long video on the waste and fraud since we started sending money over there, but I'll spare you from that and just show you some examples.
The United States continues to work hard to monitor and account for U.S. security assistance delivered to Ukraine. And we've seen no credible evidence of the misuse or illicit diversion of American equipment provided to Ukraine. But what we do see is Ukraine using the capabilities that we provided to defend itself against Russian aggression.
The Security Service of Ukraine, or SBU, announced it charged 5 people with embezzling some $40 million meant to buy 100,000 mortar shells.
The SBU intelligence agency said the probe had exposed former and current high-ranking officials at the Ministry of Defense and managers of an arms supplier. It said the embezzlement involved a contract for 100,000 mortar shells with weapons maker Lviv Arsenal in August 2022, just 6 months into the war. The announcement came on Saturday and will have a huge resonance in a country that's dealing with exhaustion after Russia's invasion 2 years ago. It also speaks to endemic corruption as a major issue as Ukraine presses its bid to join the European Union and amid a push for new funding and equipment from Washington.
But it was in St. Petersburg just days ago that a court convicted Daria Trepova for a terror attack on Russian soil in April 2023. Trepova was charged with delivering an explosive device to a pro-war Russian blogger as he gave a talk at a local cafe. She called it all a setup, saying she thought she was delivering a listening device and not a bomb that could have also killed her. She was sentenced to 27 years. All this comes as wartime officials disputed each other's accounts of the downing of a Russian military plane said to be carrying 74 people, including 65 captured Ukrainian soldiers en route to a supposed prisoner swap for Russian POWs. Moscow has provided little evidence to back its claims that Ukraine shot down the jet or that captured soldiers were on board. Ukraine says Russia is so far blocking an international investigation, while Kyiv neither confirms nor denies involvement in the crash.
Corruption within the military has been a particularly sensitive issue in Ukraine, and a defense minister was dismissed last year over various corruption cases.
In the middle of war, a shakeup at Ukraine's highest levels of government. Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov submitted his resignation letter today after President Zelensky yesterday announced plans to replace him.
Oleksiy Reznikov has been Ukraine's defense minister since before the war broke out. The military jacket scandal was the ultimate corruption case his ministry has had to face. Like in previous scandals, products, this time jackets, were ordered for an initial price, but in the end, Ukraine paid several times more. On top of this, it appears the jackets are completely useless. The order was for winter jackets, but the ones delivered from Turkey were summer ones. The minister denied the allegations.
As one investigative journalist said in one of his posts, the ministry bought summer jackets 3 times cheaper, and then, through a Harry Potter magic stick operation, they turned into winter jackets. This is not true.
This is just the latest in several scandals, which isn't new for Ukraine. The country ranks 116th out of 180 on the International Corruption Perceptions Index. Before the jackets, Ukrainian authorities say there was food, also purchased for soldiers at a price that is several times the market price. There's also widespread corruption linked to military recruitments. The people shown here are not involved. Thousands of young Ukrainians have tried to either avoid or flee the battlefield. Ukrainian investigators say various officials have accepted bribes to help them escape or get medical exemptions. The most striking case may be the one involving a recruitment official in Odessa who used some of the money he reportedly embezzled to buy this villa in Spain.
If Joe were here, she'd say, Joe, hush up, boy.